Sup, nerds, and welcome back to Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. I've been taking a look at our economy, and there are a few places that need some pretty obvious improvement. We're down below 300,000 rubles. We need to start bringing that money up. I need to not be buying as many vehicles and such because that's a clear, obvious, quick drain on the economy, but there are other things contributing. Here is a list of all the resources we're bringing in. Fabric, I don't mind. Fabric is a capital investment. It's an intermediary product that is being turned by our clothing factory here into clothes. This is actually one of our sources of money. We can just pretend it's not there and we're actually dealing with like a cost of 69,000 nice in terms of what resources we're bringing in. Steel unavoidable at the moment. I'm not setting up a steel production chain. That's not on the menu right now. That's probably going to be a good next major product, but at the moment, no. Fuel, unavoidable. Slovakia, not exactly a place I consider known for its oil fields. I can do some poking around with that, but for right now, it's not a consideration. Water, however, is. There is water on this map, both surface and underground, that we can and probably should be tapping. I did not realize our costs for water were this high already. They're only going to go up. Our little water tank, we noticed it over the winter, was having trouble supplying everyone with what was coming in on the trucks, and that's part of what's driving fuel costs up as well. I think this is the first thing to target. The second thing to target are these bricks. We're going to handle those as well next. We are just going to snip a brick factory onto this coal station here and have this supply both and use our existing network to keep that supplied. Eventually, I do want to look around and see if there's coal in the mountains so we can knock out that import cost as well. That's not a thing right now. Right now, water, bricks, and next up, probably food are the three things that are easiest for us to cover. In fact, covering food and covering fabric costs can all sort of roll together, and we can start importing crops, which, if we go to a customs house and compare just the 1 ton cost of crops, 17.96 rubles, to fabric is about 20 times more expensive than crops. That is a huge profit margin. In fact, I'm wondering if I shouldn't have just been making fabric instead of clothes, but at least this way we're not having to buy clothes. But I can get that rolling too and reduce the cost on fabric. But first, water is just 100% profit that we can turn into, and then after that we start looking at getting food handled and fabric handled, all in sort of and bricks, all in sort of the same area right here. Though the well's going to go over here. I did some scouting. In fact, let's get the well down right now. So we're going to use a little small water well. Our goal is to find something that's going to be around 95% quality, ideally surrounded by spots that's 95% quality, though I don't trust that it's going to stay that way because as we build any roads and such here, that is going to affect the water quality. Even the well itself will. But we're going to build it. It does not need workers, thankfully. It is perhaps the one thing in this game that really does not. We can just use a mud road to connect that up and not have to worry about efficiencies and building that out. From there, we'll throw in some pipes underground. It needs to be able to handle a flow, not 26.15. We actually need to build a big water pipe, I think, to handle this flow because this produces at maximum, I want to say it's 70 tons of water a day. 70 tons is a lot of water, and these pipes, 56 and a half. So we actually need to go with a big pipe here, which feels wild to me. Thankfully, it does not have to go very far. We're just going to connect it over here into a water treatment plant right about here. and then I'll connect from there up to that station. In fact, let me just set those up right now. Double check the topography. This well down to this water treatment plant is going downhill, though it's probably going to need a pump to get up to the water treatment center. So we'll toss that in over here. It's a small little station that goes right here. I know we don't need the big pipe right now, but if we need it to just get water out of this well in the first place, then why rebuild all this infrastructure when we can just take care of it now and have that be handled? It's going to be a little more expensive, but pipes are not the worst cost offenders in this game. So, and we'll plug this into the this existing water loading, unloading just to keep it full. Once we have all these done, and yeah, I like that infrastructure layout. So we'll start that. Once all that's done, we'll be supplying water ourselves and we can retire the water trucks. In fact, I partially wonder if I shouldn't have been doing the water trucks in the first place, but it was a measure just to get things started off. I'm keeping an eye on unemployment and I'm not going to do more than one sector at a time because I want to finish a sector so we're not spending the money on that. If I see significant amounts of unemployed people who are ready to go forward, then we'll add in more unemployment. I also, I have the party headquarters being rebuilt as well here. So we have a lot of unemployment happening here. I don't have this assigned to anybody. Why don't I? But we'll get all that handled and put together. We have plenty of space for people to move in now, which is fantastic. There is crime. I might need to build an orphanage and get our secret police going, but that is a second concern. Our first concern has to be money. This will contribute to money by making our population more educated. An educated population is a rich population. I went ahead and high prioritized the headquarters just because so many people are going to be walking there to try to work on the construction site instead of going to the bus stop that we might as well get that relieved as a pressure on our employment rate. So we'll get everything in there and we should have that soon. My other thought is that once I get the economy turned around, once we're actually making money, that's the time to build a true construction office somewhere. I do want to get farms and everything going, but as we're moving forward, I want to get the construction facilities necessary for a big city. We're still very much just a small town, though the population is going up steadily. We have more and more people who are getting ready to go into the workforce, and we will only be importing more people over time or, you know, growing our own. For right now, what we need to be doing is looking at preparing this place to be able to handle more expansion in the future. The first thing was to get enough of a critical mass of people to get the economy up and rolling, and we're there. We have we have the people necessary for this next step for starting to cut costs out of the city. Now, the next step really is to be able to get ready to grow. Also, I'm going to turn off these topography lines. Sorry about that. Why do I have workers in Scalica? Why did people move in here? I had thought I had gone in and turned off all my city lists. Good news is it's only Scalica that they moved in, but I do not want citizens to move into this city. I don't know what happened there. I must have just missed it as I was going through all of them. Zveniman should have them, Scalica should not. They should just move over into Scalica here soon, or I might have to forcibly move them. Doesn't feel good. Yeah, let's just forcibly relocate them. Congratulations, you live over there now. I'll just have to do that for every one of these city or these buildings. Well, I admit that did not feel great, but looking over everything, it looks like we have successfully evicted the population of Skalika. I'm sorry if I've been saying it wrong. Now they're up here in this wonderful brick flat. We have a little bit of unemployment due to low education again, but they should go to school with the children and get educated. This is finishing up building. I wanted to get this done quickly, like I said, so these workers can then go on to some of these other jobs. But we should be seeing, yeah, we're getting the groundworks done out here. It's getting its steel framing. Pipes are starting to be laid, I think. Yes. Don't have any of the mechanisms in or any of that in yet, but as we finish up buildings, we should see that starting to come. So progress is being made. We are getting our water supply handled, which should be a good anti drain on the economy. And I mean, temporarily, I can just start selling water out to the rest of the world now. It's not worth a lot, but we just saw how much it can go for when it's really being used properly. Without too much pain, the party headquarters are back up. We have a lot of people working here, and we probably don't need this many. We can keep the party officials, that's fine. The number of students. I do also want us to get fire prevention basic research done. I don't know why. I would want a little bit of fire prevention here. No recent events. But I feel like it's important, at least getting some started in here. We can lower the amount that are researching, just keep it a pretty small number so all the students are training. And once we're done with that, I would also like to get the party member ranking because that's what's going to let us build the secret police. Realize the well needs power and that this whole area here is a bit cramped on its power supply. So I went ahead and we're going to build a medium switch here that I'm preparing to connect to this main line and back into the substation, like we're just connecting from the other side of the substation into this. Then I am also bringing a larger 5-piece switch out here to connect out here. This is probably about as far out as I can start putting these. We're going to run into issues of wattage on the switches, which lower voltage every time we connect them, and we've daisy chained a little out here. So I'm going to fill in this area off of this existing power line, but anything past that, I'm really going to want to either consider running another line off of our main high voltage switch here or doing something else. We'll grab this last power line, bring it up here. Well, let me build the substation first. It's a small little electric substation with a footpath because that's all I need. I would like to put it here so that it gives some redundancy to the area. I think that is a wise plan. It should help power this, which let me make sure this says all the things it needs in terms of electrical, sewer, footpath. Okay. But this substation will help give even more backup to this area as I'm building out here. And with this, we'll just connect it up from here, out here, and just connect it directly that way. Gonna be a little bit of awkwardness with the power wires as we're filling in this area, but it'll be okay, and this will give the well some power. Water's at 94%, but that's why we're building this water treatment plant here. I figured it would tick down. The water treatment plant will be able to accommodate for anything else that changes here. Our population is exploding. We've had 215 births and those 35 immigrants I put in by forgetting to check that box there. And we've had 43 deaths. We have had our first escape. An escape is somebody who is so unhappy that they're fleeing. That's going to happen. Not everybody's cut out for the pioneer life. We're better off without them. But as things get better, we should see that number drop. I'm not expecting it to get too high, though. It all depends on what all happens here. Oh yeah, I need to start this infrastructure. There we go. And make sure that a construction office is assigned to all of it, and that looks good except for this and that. Starting to lay out segments of asphalt road. Going to be a lot more careful about how I lay things out so I don't close things off from the fire station. I really did learn my lesson there. That one stung. We're getting this water treatment site built out still. It's going to take a while. Just trying to make sure that we don't have people sitting around doing nothing, can give them construction jobs close to home and things like that. Somebody should get on that. I got this substation connected off the other side now. Looks like we're just waiting on getting these cables built so I can cut the switch in, and then I'm going to have to basically cut this area off from power for a day or two. It's a planned outage. It's okay. Everything else is coming along. We're getting this other switch up. We are nearly done with this substation. There it goes. In fact, yeah, it has some logic connected buildings, but it's not connected up yet. We will go ahead and make sure that all of this is running soon. All right, we have the switch basically built out. I think we can go ahead and do a little bit of demolishing here. It's not going to be a lot, but we just need to. Oh, not this one. Cancel that demolition, and honestly cancel this demolition as well. That one should be good. You, or am I demolishing you? Cancel that. So when we look at what's being demolished, it should be this section right here. And with that, we should be able to plug these new ones in and hopefully get everything sorted here with power pretty quickly. I understand it's dark. I'm hoping it makes sense that I'm just rerouting some of these connections as efficiently as I can. Yep, I know we have an electricity problem out here, and that's going to affect our water. That's why we're doing this quickly. Demolition's done. We're getting this new one built. It should be relatively quick. Like, that's not a lot of materials needed. And we have all the offices assigned to it. I'm hoping this. We're going to toss that onto high priority. That needs to be done quickly. We are out of water in the tower, but people should have enough at home for a bit. No. No, we're going to run into some issues of people being thirsty, but I'm hoping it's just for a day or so and we're able to get everything back on track. People are definitely not happy about the lack of water. That is drastic. I must have caught it immediately when it happened in the winter. We're seeing some issues with health and happiness both. But we just got the workers there that needed to be there. This is getting built. Should be done any moment now. Come on. Any moment. There we go. We have the connection. We have power here. This building now has power, and water shipments should continue again as normal. Here they come. The meantime, treatment plant and high voltage switch are almost done. Only took all summer for a pretty basic job. I definitely am going to want to get better construction offices here soon. And there's the water coming in, flowing out immediately. No storage for a day like this. Once we have the pump running and the water treatment center up and running, we should never have that kind of issue again. At least for this town. We're starting to see a little bit of backup going, so that's good. We have everything in this network built but the treatment plant, which is just waiting on a shipment of steel. When that steel's in and when it's able to finish its last bit of construction, I'll need to assign some chemicals into here from the distribution office. There's the steel. We are getting work done. With that, our water supply should be locally sourced, and we should have no issue at all with having water for quite a long time. 70 tons of water is one thing, but being able to produce it per day is another. Look at how quickly that's going up. And we will no longer have these bring water in. Instead, I'm going to flip them around and have them start bringing water out. How this is set up, this water tank has to be completely full before anything sits in the water unloading station for pickup. So we won't even hurt our production in the city that way. We'll just grab whatever's around here. And like I said, it's just because I have these vehicles going anyway. I might as well be using them for something. Looks like we've trained up basically all the students we need. I'm going to increase the number that are working on research as opposed to sitting in the auditorium teaching. And we'll just keep scaling that up over time, trying to keep these researches moving. Preventing fires is going to be a huge thing, and the secret police will help us start dealing with this government loyalty issue, as will regular police, come to think of it. That's all a little longer term, though. We need to finish the economic situation first, and then we can turn to things like the state after. This one was just good for getting the educated uh, members of state who will be able to keep the system running. All right, we have our water treatment plant here. It has water coming in, flowing. What we are going to need to do is we are going to need. Wait, do I need drinkable water in here? Do I need a substation? I do not. That's just an interesting choice. All right. So in our distribution center here, I think it's the one with the cistern is the one that needs to go. Let's double check the vehicles associated or affiliated with this place. Yeah, cistern. We will tag in the water treatment plant. We'll make sure we're picking up some chemicals from there. We're just going to keep this to 20% storage, and we're going to make sure it's loading and unloading chemicals. Wonderful. Once that shipment comes in, I think our water issues will be solved. In any case, we have our cistern coming delivering the chemicals. That's one major cost solved. The next that I want to solve is bricks. Bricks are easy. Bricks involve me putting a factory right here, making sure it's connected, and making sure we have enough workers. So that is under basic industry here, I believe, in the construction industry. And we need to make a brick factory. We'll have 75 workers every day, so this will actually call for us expanding out our bus stop out here and the one back in town, which is something I've been meaning to do. But as we can see, it's pretty easy to get this set up. We just sort of need to put this here. We can get well, we'll do it around this way and just make sure we have the road. Let's mirror that so that it connects like this. Get that in as close as we can. Let's flatten the terrain a bit. Make sure that this conveyor connection is there. There we go. Just smooth that out. And there we go. Brick factory. That should connect to all the same things that everything else is. Shouldn't have any issues there. Has heat, water, sewage, or power, water, sewage. Doesn't need heat, it looks like, which makes sense. Factories should be pretty warm places. And we'll throw in a gravel road that's connecting back in. So you smooth that out a bit and get that connecting right here. Start that construction. And this is our next big project. But like I said, we sort of need more in terms of bus to be able to handle this because these bus stops can only handle, I believe, 100 people at once. Let's see. Yeah, a free bus stop only can handle 100 people at once, though it does have two stations for loading and unloading. I think that means we need to upgrade to the next step up, 200 workers will be able to handle everything that's out here, and we can upgrade this one here as well. We will just put that, well, let's put it over here and we can remove that road if we need to, or I can figure something else to make that work. Might even just have them walk to it, but we just need all this residential area to be able to get here. That is the primary thing this bus stop needs, as well as apparently power. I think the best place to put it's going to be here next to where this road depot was. We can move all that over there temporarily, take out this gravel road right here, and place in the bus stop here. It's going to be more central, going to be make sure it's able to get here, and sort of just keep this higher priority just based on that. So I'm going to fiddle around, see if I can't get this to work. We've crossed 1,000 people. We actually have some unemployment. It's still due to a small child, which our kindergarten should be able to handle this just fine. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Everybody is able to walk there, right? Yeah. All of our residential zones are able to get there. So again, not sure what's happening there. Might just be new births or whatever. In the meantime, we're starting to see this brick factory come up and we're clearing out this road here. It's an unfortunate place that it needs to be. It's sort of right in our main line. I guess, actually, thinking of it, I could just make a little diversion, like a detour that connects in over here and try to find a place for this to connect. I just saw one. There we go. Anyway, this will serve as just a soft detour while I'm building the new bus stop. All very temporary. Just going in here, getting everything stationed while this takes out the last of the trash, and this road should be considered deleted. Fantastic. Now we'll clear out this dirt road right here. So I'm not sure what's going on with this little road depot here. It's been an issue. I'm not able to get the vehicles out. I think the only thing I can really do aside from try that button, no, that doesn't work. I think I just have to sell all the vehicles. I've been trying to get a road out and it's just been buggy, saying that it's interfering with existing construction, and I think it's these power lines here. So I think, honestly, these were all sort of extras that I had sitting around from accidental orders. Let's get our money back. Got hardly any back. That's fine. Let's take out this depot. Our money is in a place I don't love. I'll fully admit that. I'm hoping that once we're really able to get this brick factory up and running, that plus what's already here is going to make it all okay. I hope. But to get all that working, we need to get a proper bus stop here, which is what all this is about. There we go. Can cancel this demolition. Wind this through. Unfortunately, all these power lines I just put down are being a bit problematic with all this. The answer is to build it over here. In so doing, we can connect it down here. I'm gonna make this road connected over. This is an issue with realistic mode, is that power lines are real and a problem that have to be dealt with when building a road. Which, to be fair, is realistic. But it makes me wish I had waited to build the power lines before I did all this. No matter. We'll get that built. We'll start all this infrastructure. And I'll make sure that this footpath is connected again because I was messing around with some things, try to get all this to work. So connect that back in, and it should be good. While we're doing this, this is still working. This is still running. We're able to get heating. We're able to get clothes, and we can get buses around the back way over here. We'll take out this detour road once it's all done. But everything is still fine in terms of keeping our country running. I could have gotten rid of this too, but I don't think this is actually interfering much. I'm just reminding myself it's an industrial sector. It doesn't have to be pretty. It's an industrial sector. It doesn't have to be pretty. This is just to get us up and running. I will make gorgeous grids later. I will. I will do it. But still, I even this is a little much even for me. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I have a high tolerance for chaos. Good news is this bus stop's ready. We're going to turn off anybody waiting here at the moment. We don't want people wasting their time waiting at a bus stop that isn't even running yet. And our bus stop is done here. So I can turn this off. Not that that really does anything, but we can go ahead and get into the bus line, which I'm taking a sort of, we'll go view line detail. Here we go. So we need to basically delete these stops and add in these ones instead. Now we do our little tweaks. We're loading workers, not anyone else. All workers are fine. Well, not ones without education. They can't work in these places. As we've learned the hard way, we're not unloading anything. We're just loading there, and we are unloading anything we might have down here at Scalica. Fantastic. We'll accept the changes. We'll keep it on the same buses. If things get a little hairy, if it doesn't look like we're getting enough workers to handle all of these, we'll get in more buses on the line, just so long as this is still filling up at a reasonable rate. And we'll let workers head here. There we go. That is the bus lines adjusted. And we can take this one out now and just make nicer road in place of it. We'll let that bus go by first. We'll let both the buses go by first. There we go. Let's put in a little chunk of gravel road right here. Need to handle the footpaths quickly, because those are causing some small issues. So if you hear the whir every time I come into this area, it is the ambulance, which unfortunately is just always going to be doing that here. I'm going to see what I can do about that. But most of the time it's not an issue. I just happen to notice it right now and decide to address it. Our brick factory is coming along. Dropping people off here seems to be working just fine, getting them where they need to go, getting the good jobs being done, even sending some extra people onto construction at the factory itself. It has probably saved us quite a bit of money having these workers here able to join in on the construction work, though I would prefer if they were doing clothing factory work. I recognize that that might not always be a thing. Let's see. More workers coming in. Good. And are people starting to wait here again? They are. So we have a good chunk of passengers waiting here for a job. It might be worth getting a third or fourth bus on this line. We'll see once this is reconnected, but just they'll only wait a certain amount of time before they disappear if a bus hasn't come to pick them up yet. And that's why this number is going down and up and down and up like that. I mean, that's great. Loading up a full bus, getting 69 workers out there, nice. But this one's already coming so soon. The line spacing's a bit off. Let me view the line detail. That should not be happening. But how many got in here that quickly? Another 25? Yeah, that tells me we can add another bus or two onto that line. So that will be the next thing we do. I'm not super concerned about it, but having people working both factory jobs constantly seems like it would be good to keep our economy booming. And we do have a tiny bit of unemployment from people who can't get work. Multiple cranes coming onto this site. This one must be huge. Snow of our third winter is falling. It is pretty impressive to think that all of this has happened in 3 years. It's cost a lot of money. It's had some terrible tragedies, but our work is proceeding apace, and we are getting ready for big pushes forward. I've realized with the brick factory, we might as well just make ourselves a little open cargo storage here. Get that filled in. I think I'm going to do it here. I think I'm going to be a little more liberal in my usage of space. So this can go right here. It should automatically flow in. We'll get the gravel road going up there, so our vehicles that are picking up gravel can go quickly. That's mostly for delivery, though, because what will actually be getting the cargo out is if I look here under general cargo, open storage, there should be a loader and unloader. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. It's a little road cargo station. It is not strictly necessary. However, I find that one of the things that has been holding me up in terms of construction speed is simply how long it takes trucks to load and unload bricks. So having a cargo station here that can do that for me at a increased rate only seems wise. I do think one more bus on the route's going to be wise. Like I'll watch this and we'll see where it's at. It just had to pick up, but if we start seeing the numbers dropping at any point, that means we should add another bus on. There we go. They're starting to tick up and down again, so one more bus on the route to help level that out seems like a good idea. We have a road depot here somewhere. There we go. We'll just add with rubles one more decent sized passenger bus. We'll take this one. I think this is what we've been using. Maybe this one, 123 passengers. No, at the rate we're going, no, we'll take this for future proofing. So the one with for 123 passengers, it's expensive, but getting more workers out here is the only way we're going to get more clothes made, and that is our primary source of money at this point. Fire prevention has been researched nearly a year after the old building burned down. We could continue to do more research on that. I think right now we're going to spend some time getting some students trained up, making sure we have some more party officials around who are able to teach. Bring up that loyalty score a little because 41% is dangerously low. We really need to get the secret police in. We're finishing up work on the brick factory right now. We're almost finished with our open storage factory, and we nearly have our cargo station ready to go as well. There's the brick factory finished. This will make 51 tons of bricks per day potentially, it at the cost of 33 tons of coal, which is why we attached it to this. The coal's needed to, of course, fire the bricks up. We are going to keep getting this built out. I should probably have built a loader unloader for the aggregate here. And in fact, since this road here is a little extraneous, I might just do that. Might reposition this gas station and everything. That's a thought for next episode. For now, I think we are in a good position to end this. If we take a look back at the import of resources as we were dealing with before, most of those costs are down to basically nothing. We're still bringing in water only because we don't have the worker supply going, but that is an issue that's basically solved. Let's bring it to last year. So let's look at all of last year's. Fabric is going to be a cost. We knew that. That's a fine cost. That turns into clothes, which we will sell. Steel, unavoidable. That's mostly going into construction costs, though. So if I slow down construction, which I'm probably going to, that cost slows down. Water, solved theoretically. Fuel, unavoidable. We should be reducing the amount of that we spend, though. Food, unsolved. We'll get to that. Bricks, solved. Let's see. Anything else? Not really, but we can start exporting bricks, water, and of course, we're already exporting clothes. That's why we had no clothes costs. We made 41,000 total last year, even after handling all the wastewater. That's an obvious place for improvement, but I think we can turn a profit just off of these. We can already see we are making bricks, getting ready to use them in other projects or export them as needed. We are making them fast. Bricks has been such a high cost for us that being able to get rid of them seems like magic to me at the moment. So we're going to end this episode here. We should be turning this profitable next episode. That is my goal. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.